Good morning. It's Thursday, July 11th, 2024. This is your Georgia WeatherNet morning update. Things are quiet across the state of Georgia this morning, but a little activity out in the Atlantic Ocean. See some showers and thunderstorms out there well out to sea. That's part of a low-pressure center that's fairly disorganized, but the National Hurricane Center is still keeping an eye on it. Slim chance of developing into a tropical cyclone over the next 2 days. But it does have one thing going for it. It's situated right on top of what's called the Gulf Stream, warm water that originates from the Gulf of Mexico and then moves up northeast through the Atlantic Ocean. So it's sitting right on top of that very warm water. So that's what's giving it any hope whatsoever of organizing, but still, it's just in the wrong place at the wrong time. It doesn't look like that's going to develop into any sort of tropical system, but again, we're going to keep an eye on it, and we could see a little bit of impact, at least from the general dynamics of the atmosphere off the Atlantic Ocean, especially for coastal Georgia, southeast Georgia, as we move toward the evening hours tonight, which we'll talk about when we take a look at the modeling, take a look at temperatures across the state, upper 60s, and that drier air remains intact in North Georgia, so nice, refreshing start, especially up in the North Georgia mountains this morning, and that dry air is starting to slip down into parts of southwest Georgia as well, so you'll notice that humidity is down just a bit as we move through the day today. Still going to be hot, but we see those dew point readings, upper 50s in a few spots, and then into the 60s in parts of West Georgia. Still very hot and humid in southeast Georgia today, so again, we'll just barely notice a little bit of change in the humidity as we move through the day. That's going to help keep our heat index down as well across the state of Georgia, but that humidity is going to be right back in as we head toward tomorrow and into the weekend. Let's take a look at our weather model through the day today. We see that low pressure out there in the Atlantic Ocean. Remember, that's rising air, and so that means that whatever moisture we have in the atmosphere would love to lift and become a shower. So as we move toward this afternoon, we see that low, at least it's an associated low, start to move in toward coastal Georgia, and that could pop up a couple of showers. Our model is not rendering that, but just know from Statesboro, Hinesville, Savannah, all the way down to Brunswick, we could see a couple of showers around even this afternoon. The rest of the state should be pretty dry because of that drier air that's locked in. And then as we move into this evening, better chance of those showers. Now the model is starting to catch up on that. So we're kind of battling between that drier air that's moved in from the northwest and that system out there in the Atlantic Ocean, and we're kind of squeezed into the middle. And that's why we'll see a couple of thunderstorms, possibly mainly in the southeastern corner of the state as we head toward this evening, and a couple of showers could slip up toward the CSRA as well later tonight. Overnight tonight should be pretty quiet. That low-pressure system continues to bounce around the state as we get started tomorrow morning. A little more cloud cover and fog, and we move through tomorrow. Things are pretty quiet, looks like, during the morning hours. Now we head toward noon. This is 1 o'clock. We see thunderstorms begin to develop once again. Looks like mainly in East Georgia just because it's closer to all that low-pressure setup, but the rest of the state could see a couple of showers as well as we head through tomorrow afternoon. That drier air retreats back to the north, so it's going to be warm and humid again through the day tomorrow. This weekend, scattered showers, a few thunderstorms, not a rain out by any means, but it will be hot and humid. And then we'll be talking about heat advisories again as we head into next week with those high temperatures getting back up into the mid to upper 90s, even some triple-digit readings. That's before the heat index is counted in there, so it could be very, very hot again as we get started for next week. That's the latest from the Georgia WeatherNet. Now your local forecast from northwest Georgia to southeast Georgia.